Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Elo. If this is your first time here, thank you for stopping by. And today, you guys can see I have a special guest. This is not anything. This is very new actually. Like the first guest on my channel. I feel like we should have a cup or something I should give you.
Wow.
But yeah, today I have a special guest with me. I have my friend Ola. And today we're just going to be chatting and just gisting with you guys, sharing our thoughts. This is just us on the couch, just gisting. Two girls just gisting.
Yes.
Right? So if this seems like something that you'll be interested in, then keep on watching. So today we're going to be talking about female friendships, right? We are a very complex species. We are so complex.
I hope men are not listening.
It's the truth. We are unnecessarily complex, and I think it spills out into every aspect of our relationship, every aspect of our lives, including friendships with other women. And sometimes it's just mind-boggling. Like, it's not supposed to be that hard. Is it?
Well, so I think first of all, human relations are very complex.
But make that human female.
No, let's layer it on.
Let's start.
Let's layer it on.
Okay.
You know, humans are very complex. We come with a lot of baggage. You know, different childhood experiences, different life experiences, different beliefs, different stereotypes, different things, right?
Yeah.
And trying to achieve common goals or forge relationships with someone who's coming from an entirely different background from you has to be tough, right?
Yeah, but I get that. But you know, with men, I see how my husband makes friends. And it's a different ball game. Like two men that have absolutely nothing in common except maybe they work in the same industry and they like sports. They come together, they start chatting. Few moments later, they know what they need to know about each other. And my guy, I see you later, and they've gone. Like
I see what you mean, and I definitely agree with most of that. But I think that men's relationships are more superficial.
Well, that is true.
For women, I think we really value depth.
True.
You see women bonding over children, bonding over parenting decisions, bonding over their career, you know, and I think that we tend to be more intentional about friendships because of that.
Are we?
Well, largely, we try.
Because I feel like I'm at a point where I really crave like deep friendship and I really want that depth, but I find myself at a loss to actually find people that want the same thing, because I've realized that a lot of people say, oh, they want a sisterhood kind of friendship, this and that, but they're not really ready to invest in it. Like, how do you expect to get proceeds from something that you're not investing in?
Yeah, and I think that's one thing I've struggled with actually, especially when it comes to changing environment, you know, migrating, going to another city, even within the same country, or going to different countries entirely, and being in totally different spaces with the people you find to be your sisters or you have built a kind of close relationship with over time. I think it takes a lot more effort now, you know, in that context, right? Because friendship is sustained by, I think friendship is fed by mutual interests, mutual goals. And when you migrate, when you go to a different country from your friend, those things shift. Right? It's no longer, my girl, who's the person servicing your jet? Please send me his number.
Like, now it's like we're having totally different experiences. Like, I'm talking about to file my tax return. You're talking about the express scarcity.
You know, or like, I want to go to the market. The lady that supplies me goat meat. You know, like those kind of conversations shift. And then it becomes harder to bond over, you know, mutual interests because of that. And it was when I even became an adult that I realized that this idiom that we learned, out of sight, out of mind, is really, really true.
It's true.
There are some things that Zoom and phone calls cannot replace. Like we try, you know, those are some of the things that I try to do to sustain, you know, the relationships I have, you know, schedule calls. In fact, now
you see that schedule calls Like, because I feel like for those of us that have migrated from our countries that had to leave our friends, for me personally, personally, before I migrated, I devoted like an entire year or two to actually really investing in my friendships, right? I didn't really have a lot of friends, and then I now decided, I woke up one day and said, I actually want to have friends and I want to be intentional about my friends. And so I started making friends. I didn't even know where that buying to anywhere when I started this. So this was just me on a mission to have friends that, people I could lean on. And so I really poured into my relationships. And then all of a sudden I had to pack my bag and say I'm going somewhere. And now it's like a struggle. And what you just said now makes so much sense, because now we don't really have a lot of shared experiences to bring us together. And I'm just wondering, are you still in touch with your friends from back home?
In fact, I will be very, very honest and say that I have tried to sustain some have not lasted, And I think my Jakba journey was in 2 phases.
Yeah.
So, like 5 years ago, I went to do my master's in the UK. I did not intend to leave the country. Like, I traveled for studying, and I knew I wanted to come back. In fact, I submitted my dissertation from Nigeria. That was how much
You were very serious.
Exactly. The moment I could pack my bags and go back home, I did. And I think that, 1 year, 14 months period really taught me a lot about friendships, because my friendships took a very, very big hit, coupled with, stress of masters. It's like the education system is totally different and things move so fast. You're writing papers, churning out papers week after week. Of course, you don't have time for many friends, right? And then there was one of my friends who felt that I did not carry her along in my process of, moving, and she felt slighted. And that's one thing I see a lot these days. People saying, how can you call me your friend and you're planning such a big move and you don't tell me?
Yeah, I actually am part of that.
Confess!
I'm like that. I think because it's for me, I don't use the word friend lightly. I am one of those people that can actually compartmentalize or group the people that are in my life into the right boxes.
Very important.
I know this one is an acquaintance, this one is a co-worker, this one is my neighbor.
Yeah.
But when I say you are my friend, we are in a relationship. We are in a committed relationship.
And expectations.
And I have expectations. I feel like for such a big move, a big decision, it was not something that you did overnight.
Yes.
It took some time and some planning. So at what point did you feel like I was supposed to be informed? Or is it that you just didn't think I was important enough to be aware?
Well,
it's for me, it's one kind. And I understand to an extent, Nigerians and this whole fear of when you're relocating, don't tell anybody. It's like far.
No, that was not even it. I feel like in my life and my work with God and how I see my blessings, I don't think anybody can.
Yeah, I
the blessings are always village people proof, right? But it was a very, very, quick, things were happening very, very fast. Yeah. In fact, at some point, I thought I wasn't going to go because I had the admission, I didn't have the funding. It was very complicated. But the opposite then happened when I was ready to leave finally.
Yeah.
I was, and I don't think we've ever talked about this before, so this is also new to you. Yeah. I got a PhD scholarship in Ireland in 2021. Yes, I had just given birth to my daughter at that time. And I told a lot of people, of course, like family, friends. I mean, not like I went to BBC to announce it, but I think it was different from the master's time. And I told everybody who was happy for me and all of that.
Yeah.
But to cut the long story short, I got my visa, but they served my family breakfast. My husband and my, I think 9-month-old daughter. Oh, and maybe we should even have another sit down to talk about that.
We shall talk about another.
But it didn't work out.
Yeah.
And we appealed the decision. We were waiting 3 months to 6 months, 6 months to 9 months. And everybody who knew about it kept asking, you people haven't gone. When we'll be like, 3 months, at least 4 months, and then the 4 months will still be there. They will still be seeing us. At some point, it was like, and eventually I had to let go of the opportunity. I had to stop the PhD because the visa wasn't coming forth. And just the difference in the experience I had sharing to everyone who was around me versus not sharing the other time until I had gotten to the UK. It was so different, and it gave me a lot of anxiety. So I'm sharing that really just to show that when people make certain decisions or act certain ways or don't tell you something, it's mostly about them and their state of mind than it is about you. And friendship really is a journey of learning and unlearning certain things, and not necessarily classroom learning like, hey, my friend, sit down, let me teach you. Not necessarily. But the kind of role modeling kind of learning, you know, you'll be more vulnerable to show your friend how to be more vulnerable. You communicate openly to show your friend how to communicate more openly, you know.
Let me just hold you up. Hold up. You see this vulnerability that you just spoke about, I think it's a very big thing, especially in female friendships. Coming from a Nigerian background, I feel like vulnerability is something that a lot of women don't really bring to the table in their friendships. A lot of women come with this mindset of, oh, I don't need anybody, or I won't invest so much energy in this relationship so that if it's scatter, I have nothing to lose there, you know?
And that's really how you know that people are carrying a lot of trauma. People need therapy.
Girl, I agree.
It was when I went to therapy for the first time after I had my daughter that I realized that how I'm approaching my relationships, my marriage is really through the lens of my childhood, right? A lot of experiences I had as a child, trauma, seeing how people navigated life started forming my own lens, and you know, not necessarily helpful. Most of the
I remember
time.
telling my sister when we had a conversation that a lot of us are carrying trauma that don't even belong to us, right? A lot of people.
I want to write that down.
A lot of us are actually operating under the idea of how other people's experiences were. Like for me, growing up, I saw my mom and how she was with her friends. She had quite a few friends when I was growing up, but then along the way, you know, life happens and people just go their separate ways. And then she kind of started. I feel like she was in a season where she was losing friends for one reason or the other, and she now started thinking that, oh, she's unlucky with friends and things like that. And so, unknowingly or knowingly, I had that mindset of, oh, I'm not lucky with friends. And so every friendship that I went into, it ended badly. And I feel like because of that mindset, I was really walking that line and I was picking the wrong people to be friends with, and obviously it went in tears. It ended in tears a lot.
And then you now start saying, I don't need friends, I'm okay on my own. The thing is, there's a reason why the Bible talks about the friend that sticks closer than a brother, or in our case a sister, right? There are some roles that family will not fulfill in your life.
Help me, please. I know people are telling me. Help me to tell them louder for the people at the back because they cannot hear you well. Tear them away.
Yes, there's some, especially as women, right? In fact, in my circle, right, there's some of my friends that when our mothers annoy us so much, we want to unmother them. We call each other up and rant, and you know, that's how you get through. Sometimes family will annoy you, push you to the wall so much, but it is those friends, right, that help you through that season and speak sense into you and continue to be there for you, right, while your family is moving a different way you don't understand.
I just feel like womanhood is just so deep, so it's so stressful being a woman as it is.
Girl.
That I cannot understand how people will not say, as I am like this, so I don't want to do life with any other person. It's great to have a husband. It's great to have kids. It's great to have a family. But I just feel like there are certain spaces that those other people in your life cannot feel. That only like true friendship from a woman that understands the struggle can really feel. And being able to get to that point where that woman can feel that gap, it requires a level of vulnerability that, I'm sorry to my Nigerian sisters, I don't think a lot of Nigerian women are emotionally available.
Even in friendships, right? And that's the role of culture, I guess. because as I've started having, Asian friends, European friends, American friends, I'm realizing that how they navigate communication, how they navigate showing up for each other is
so different.
Very different from what you've known. And that's the point I was talking about in terms of unlearning and learning certain things, right? Being open, at least being open.
Well, you can only I feel like you can only teach someone that is a bit exposed.
Yeah,
to an extent.
I see what you mean.
Do you understand? Because now we've come in contact with people from other cultures. That is why we've now been able to come to this conclusion that okay, life is not one way. There are multiple ways. But some people that have never experienced like friendships or relationships outside of their backgrounds or their country and their upbringing. Because personally, before I moved here, I didn't have a friend that was in Nigeria. And then when I started to make friends that were not Nigerians, it was a whole new kettle of fish. Because I'm like, okay, things don't really work the way I'm used to out here.
So, well, for me, because I had an international career, like really early in my career journey, I started, picking up on this, but it was very confusing for me at first. Right? It was very confusing for me at first to have friendships outside of my culture. And one thing I think is even common, regardless of culture, are those group of friends, category of friends that make friends to use people. So, I want to be friends with you because I see that you have a certain type of access, a type of leverage that I can benefit from. And when I need you, I will be, in your space, doing the loveliest things. But the moment I don't need you to do something for me, everybody.
I can't stand people like that. I feel like in the American has been walking around, 2x2 or rival cord from time to time, not to tap their head. Because I don't know, I feel like sometimes when I think of how I approach friendships, I think I have a childlike approach to friendships. It's never. I don't know how to pretend. If I don't like you, I don't like you. Sometimes I used to tell like, babe, fix your face.
As in, I'm learning diplomacy to survive. Actually,
it's so hard for me. Also, I will not come and forgive my French, kiss your ass just because I want to get something.
Of course,
I'd rather not.
Of course, some people call it networking.
Excuse me, it's boot licking.
But
let's call it what it is. It's boot licking, pure and simple. You are licking boots for what you want to get.
For what you want to get, right? And let's even talk about this whole friendship breakup, right? I feel that the way we have navigated as Nigerian women, the way we go through friendship breakup is like, this is the end, I don't think, I'm coming to realize, after having done it too, I'm coming to realize that, when you leave a season of a deeper level of friendship into a season where the friendship has become more superficial, it shouldn't necessarily be, we are now enemies, right?
Breakup is very painful. But then I feel like
friendship breakfast.
Nothing be painful for this life. After your friend break up with you.
To be honest, I don't think I've experienced heartbreak that is as painful as friendship breakup.
There's no heartbreak.
I don't think so.
Boys will come and go.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, men will come and go. But your friend,
if you are not married,
but your friend, guy, you don't do me like that. It's painful. But then I understand, what you're saying, that every relationship has its time and its season.
Yeah.
And it takes wisdom and understanding to get to that point where you understand. That's the word. I went through a season where one of my closest friends, we just drifted apart, and it was so painful because I could not understand what went wrong. And even after we spoke about it, we still don't understand what went wrong.
Yeah.
But then I got to one point, and the Holy Spirit was just telling me, like, you guys are in different seasons of your life now, and it's okay. I still love this person to death, and I'm sure if I need her, she will come through. But it's okay.
I actually have a similar experience with my best friend, and I think that first of all, that's where communication comes in, right? I love that you guys were able to get to the point where you spoke about it, right? And sort of that acceptance that comes that you are in different seasons, so therefore different priorities, less time to probably spend together, to bond together, and it doesn't have to be fight. Like, now that our friendship is no longer as close as before.
If you see me coming like this, you go that way.
So, and I will keep mentioning this in culture. You know that in Yoruba language, there is no word for conflict or disagreement. It's fight.
Oh, it's true.
Yeah.
Ija is fight.
Mumba Eja. Like, you did something I don't like, Mumba Eja. So, culturally, that also frames our mind to think, well, we can't have conflict and come back from it and accept where we are and move on. And that's unlearning is very important in that regard. It's conflict, it's not fight, it's not, accepting that we can say hello, hi.
For us, everything is fight. For my Nigerian brothers and sisters, everything is fight. You always say Ijawa Ijausi, always guiding, always ready to fight. And I think this is so important. A lot of friendships have come to an end for this lack of understanding that it's okay for your friendship to go through, a season where you are not as close as you used to be. It's not as deep as it used to be. It doesn't mean that you guys are no longer friends. It doesn't mean that you are now bad people.
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of people mess up. It's just like, oh, you are no longer serving the purpose that you were serving before, so I cut you off. Goodbye.
And we're very quick. We're very quick to cut off.
Some of us, he sees us like our left hand. He sees us.
Cancel culture too is part of it. We millennials, Gen Z, our cancel culture is on fleek. And we need to come to friendship with grace. A lot of times we approach everything in friendship as if, oh, it's about me. It's what I want, what makes me happy, without considering that the other person too is going through stuff. The other person has baggage, the other person is in a different season, right? And just being able to show up consistently and invest in that friendship, it really matters to you. And then if it doesn't work, having the grace and the humility to say, we're here now. No bad blood, but
truly, I feel like our upbringing and everything really has a lot to do with how we navigate friendships. Because if you grew up not seeing maybe your parents or your aunt, your family members navigating friendship with so much grace, it's going to be very foreign for you. A lot of people go into, the main mention that people that are just in the relationship of what they can get. A lot of friendships are very transactional.
Yes.
It's all about what I can get. And if it's no longer serving that purpose, then goodbye. And that is something that I really, really struggle to understand. Like, you mean you don't actually care about this person? It's just about you.
Yeah.
Why so selfish though?
I mean, that's the way of the world, right?
That's
the way of the world, right? They say even if you give someone who is, how will I put it now? Someone who is mentally, having mental issues, a hole, he or she will first of all dig to their own side, right? So I feel like selfishness is so much, it's very human, and you have to do a lot of work to develop your considerate side, the side that takes other people's feelings and emotions into consideration. And the question is, are you ready to do the work?
The answer to that is many people are not.
Because your selfish side will take over if you don't do the work of ensuring that you keep things in check and you're able to put yourself in other people's shoes.
Okay, I get that. Now I actually want to talk about people that don't know how to categorize their friendships.
Hey, just call my name.
I think I'm actually just learning it, right? That they are casual friends. They are friends for a season. They are your core friends. Then they are also your close friends, right? And then I realized that I think, honestly, with old age comes wisdom. Because if you have your eye on yet seen something,
the same,
you will not you will not access, you will not learn. And I think that is something that we learn with time and experiences. For some people, they are not cut out to be your core. They are not about that life. They are here for you to chop life, to gist, to talk about the inane stuff. They are not the ones to call when you need depth.
Yes.
And that is, I think, a problem that a lot of us women face, because we're trying to put a casual friend in the box of a core friend or a close friend.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't work, we are confused, we are hurt.
Yeah.
How do we get to that point where, you know, you tell them apart, you put everybody in the boxes that they are, and it's okay if you are a casual friend, it's fine. Serve your purpose when you want to serve your purpose.
To be honest, I don't know if I have learned this enough, because I find myself still making that mistake, and it is now when people reveal themselves that I now believe them.
At least you believe them. Some people have to convince them, they will not still believe them after they have reviewed themselves. It's like, maybe you are having a bad day.
So yeah, well, making excuses for people, right? I mean, I also feel like because of lack of communication, our expectations are not always on the table. You know, it was, God bless her wherever she is, it was my therapist that taught me that some friends don't know that you expect them to check on you.
Well,
some friends don't know that you expect them to maybe buy you gifts on special occasions, if that's your thing.
Yeah.
And you have to like be open about, there's no shame, there's no how will I put it? It's not a bad thing to communicate your expectations.
See the thing that you just said. I remember when I was in the season of cultivating my friendships, right? And I just wanted to be very intentional, and I wanted to know what was expected of me. So this day I sat down and I came up with a questionnaire of different things, like, oh, what kind of friendship are you looking for? What are your expectations? This and that. And I sent it to all the people that were my friends or that I was going into friendship with at that point. And then I was just telling them, just give me the answer, because I wanted to know the answer to this question would help me to navigate going forward. And I received different answers. For some people
They
say,
even answered you.
they answer. If you don't answer me, he's like, you don't know me. If you don't answer me, go.
I know people who will find that weird.
Yeah, it was very weird, because the first thing a lot of them was like, what's happening?
Like,
I said,
is it that deep?
Yeah, is that deep? Oh? For me,
That's what people.
I tell them. That's what. First, we'll come back to that about is it that deep?
Is it that deep?
That's
Yeah.
it. And you know, I got different answers. One was like, oh, at the moment she can't commit to like a close friendship or anything that deep. She's fine for, you know, the occasional friends. We don't have to be in each other's businesses, this and that. We don't really have to communicate like when we're going through stuff.
Wow.
It's selective. If she wants to, yeah, but it's not expected.
Okay.
Do you understand? And then I also got friendships of another was like, oh, my sister, I want deep friendship. The one
to enter your house.
the one that you are in my business, I'm in your business.
Consult me when you want to cook dinner.
It's not to that level, but you know, that's the kind of like wholesome. I want to be able to confide in you, vice versa. You know, and I got so it really helped me, because going forward, I gave everybody what they wanted. And it also helps to reduce my expectations in certain areas. So for the ones that say, oh, she's looking for casual, I was not expecting depth.
Yeah.
I see you when I see you, we chat when we chat. It's okay. And I know I'm not hurting you because your expectations were clear.
Yes.
And I got it. And for the ones that say we want depth, my dear, I will worry.
That you shall get.
My own is, it was happening. When I say, Alpha, how are you? Say, I'm fine. Are you mad? Which one is that? Tell me, how are you?
How is it doing?
How is it doing you? You get? And it really helped. I saw that my relationships really grew that way, because everybody's expectations and needs were fulfilled and met. There was no disappointment. I knew what to expect from each person, right? And so coming back to that statement where people say, is it that deep? For me, it's like, yes.
It is.
Friendship is that deep. Let us be open. Why? Okay, you want to be friends with me. Why? For what? What do you hope to get from this friendship?
I think this is it that deep also reminds me of one very common one, like shooting your shot when it comes to making friends. People talk about shooting your shots in relationships. Me, I don't believe in that one for women, because men will disgrace you.
They will say you're white.
But that's another story. But I do believe in shooting your shot for friendship.
Girl, I shot my shots for a lot of my friendships.
Yeah. So if you
I'm
feel
direct
like,
with that too.
if you feel like, oh, there's an opportunity for mutual value, you know, why not? Right?
Exactly. I feel like a lot of people go into friendships without really giving it thought, and that's why it scatters midway. You don't have a plan. I'm sorry to sound very serious. My friends know that when we're in I tell you, especially if you're my close friend, we are in a committed relationship. That's what I tell you. Are you listening to me? Once you say, oh, you want to be my close friend, are we? We are in a committed relationship. You are not allowed to move mad. You are stuck with me for life. I'm very intentional like that because for me, I think I'm a planner. I'm also I'm an overthinker. So for me, I must have a plan. I can't just walk into something. Okay, we want to be friends. What brings us together? What values do we share? Like, don't you? I now wonder. I made the overthink. I made the overanalyze. Those people think about this.
For the ones who from your core, yeah, I definitely agree.
Course,
I definitely agree with.
Casual friends these days, I don't even have plenty expectation for casual friends because I've got to that point where I now understand. But if you are showing like interest in being like a close friend to me, you want our relationship to go deeper. For me, we must have a plan. We must have goals. What are your expectations? So that to avoid disappointment and heartbreak.
Like what even what ticks you off, for instance? What laying all those things bare.
You must be able to communicate with me. If you cannot tell me these basic things of what you expect to get from this friendship, please, how will we communicate?
Another thing I wanted to ask you, do you have friends that you're really good with them, you're really close, but you're not as deep with their partners? Like husbands or boyfriends or fiancés? Like, do you have experience around such friendships, and how have you navigated it?
All of my married friends, it's like that. Actually.
Oh wow! Okay.
I'm cordial with their husbands, but I can't say that we have a relationship of any sort. I would say hi to you if I see you in person. I'll say hi to you if maybe I'm on a video call with your wife and you walk by. But that's it for me.
Yeah. And it's probably better that way. Right?
I'm very big on boundaries, first of all, and I read the room, right? If your husband is like a very sacred topic, nobody is, some people, their husband is their lord and their master and everything. It's okay.
Let's not go there. Let's leave.
If that's what works for you, that's great. Let's leave it at that. I will not. I separate the two of them. I think that's how it's been able to work for me. I separate the husband from the wife. The wife is my friend. The husband does not have to be my friend. It helps to manage my own expectations, and it also helps to leave a room for disrespect on both sides.
Yeah.
So for most of my friends that are married, that's it for me. I don't.
Yeah, I think
there's like zero communication with the husband. Just hi.
I think I made the mistake of thinking that it was supposed to be like a package for married friends, right? And it didn't really work out that way.
I think I learned from my husband's friends. My husband has like a group of like really close friends, and they went to university together, and they're like super close because it's guys. So when we got married, I assumed that the relationship, their wives, at least we will start to interact with the company. I was having hot breakfast because the wives didn't even send me. And then I realized that even my husband had like zero communication with the wives.
Yeah, so why should you have?
And so it was like a light bulb moment for me. So you mean that? And then when I asked, what about this person? I was like, oh, he doesn't really know. I'm like, I don't understand.
And that's what I was telling you about men. Like men will drink together.
He was like, I said, wait, people don't talk about. He said, we talk about other things, but why should I be discussing their wives with them? Like,
my own.
Yeah, we see each other. If we see each other, oh hi, they will say hi. They'll random talk, hi, family, and that's the end. There was like no communication. So I was like, hey, I wasn't involved. I never knew. And so I've gone live like that. If I've never even really thought about it. You mentioned it like that.
Yeah.
There's actually one of my friends that I've never met her husband in person. He knows of me.
Yes.
I've been to their house, but every time, because he's always like away, he travels a lot for his work, so we've never met in person. And I used to say, joking to my friend, that's how you don't meet your husband till I left Nigeria. Not like, it doesn't For me,
It's nothing.
It doesn't change anything.
Right?
It doesn't affect our relationship. It's like separate.
Yeah.
I feel like we can be here all day.
Chatting nonsense.
But we are spitting sense. We're not chatting nonsense.
Okay, chatting nonsense and spitting sense.
We are spitting sense. The well of the wisdom is very, very deep here.
It's plenty.
It's plenty. But yeah, female friendships are really beautiful and they are wonderful to see. It shows that
when it goes well.
when
you are not having breakfast.
Women are just very complex, and this is something that I've just always wanted to talk about for the longest time because I wonder about it a lot. Especially when I see all these God when posts on Instagram, those they vex me. When you see a picture or post of friends,
I'm telling you,
like, hey God.
There was one I saw recently. I think they wore boo-boos, like very nice boo-boos, like 6 of them or 7. They went in a convoy of different cars.
To go and celebrate another one's birthday. My sister, even me, I God went on that one. I said,
when they are sharing this car, did I not stand in the line?
I said, God, you do this one. Me if I must reap the benefits of friendship. But like I said earlier, you need to sow the seeds and not just sow them, you need to water them for them to get to that point. A lot of people, let us not lie and steal. A lot of people don't want to do the work.
Yeah,
they just want to.
And sometimes people are unlearning things. Let's leave room for that as well.
Of course.
Right? Some people have learned a certain kind of way to be and do life. Right?
How is that going?
So I feel like also considering that and leaving room for grace, giving feedback with love, communicating openly. It's part of nurturing and watering.
Yes, but I think a lot of people should just go for therapy.
You just don't want grief.
I cannot be doing the work of your therapist for you.
No grief for anybody. But I can count on my fingers 3 or 4 friends that have gone to therapy because I went. Right?
So does that mean I should go to therapy so my friends can go to therapy?
Sometimes you might even need to pay for your friends to have their first session. Yeah, I feel like that's really the hill I would die on when it comes to investing, right? You spend your money on things that matter to you. You spend your time on things that matter to you.
Yeah.
If a friendship really matters to you, you will think about how you can contribute to it. Your friend is having their wedding or anniversary or birthday, and you cannot point to one thing that you contributed to make the event a success.
See, some people,
you cannot. It's balloon.
Are so. I don't want to say it's bad behavior. You just have bad character because this whole thing of of giving or investing in your friendships. I don't know how you can say you are friends with someone and you're not a baby now. We have to be counting this thing like ABC for you. You cannot give. For me, giving goes beyond gifts and money. Give of your time.
Yes.
Give of your expertise.
Yes.
Don't like Yoruba people will say, meaning that if you don't have money, you will give effort.
Yeah.
Some people can. They are so. I can't go.
But me, see, I agree. If you don't have money, I do agree.
If you don't have money, give effort.
But he that is faithful, she that is faithful with little. I still feel that like your friend is having a whole wedding of a lifetime and not want even the fan she's holding.
You cannot do.
No,
and you call yourself
it's
a friend.
Even if you have to save for 6 months to buy the fan, no. I still think that there's substance is important as well, right? As much as you invest emotionally as well, you also need to find ways to be there substantially for people.
Yeah. But do you feel like, given our background and where we're coming from, the whole Nigerian mindset, do you think that we were raised to not be intentional with friendships? Do you think we were raised to not be... What's the English? English, you do me this one. I don't. Sometimes I think about it and I think maybe it's that we didn't really, a lot of importance has not been given to the matter of friendship or relationships.
So even within the Nigerian context, I still feel like there's class, there is tribe. There are different other elements that influence your culture of friendship. So it's not a one size fits all. I would say it's like very, very different based on our upbringing. But one thing I always heard, was be very careful. People are very wicked. Be very careful. People are very wicked. People are very people will stab you in the back, and these things are said from personal experiences.
See, which is why I said some people will now make their personal experiences another person's reality. It happened to you does not mean to happen to the next person.
But they say to be cautious is not to be afraid.
Tell that to in Nigeria. To be cautious is to be afraid, though. There's no difference.
So while you are guarding yourself from the wickedness of
men.
From the wickedness of world people, you should still leave room for nourishing and flourishing friendship.
I hope so. So not to take home my brothers and my sisters in the Lord.
Our mothers and fathers in Israel.
Be open.
This was supposed to be a serious video.
You cannot be serious. Be open, even though you are guided. Don't be guided. Say, you remember we say if you are closing your eye for the devil to pass, you will close your eye and the angel will pass.
No.
Okay, that's what it says. If you close the eye for the bad person to pass, did you care Nuburuku koja?
Wow.
Which means that
I love it.
When you close your eyes to avoid seeing the bad person, when the good person will pass, your eyes might still be closed.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
So
that's a really good one.
Even if you are being guarded, even if you are trying to protect yourself from being hurt, still be open to the possibility of friendship, of love, of good things. You cannot be afraid of the bad things to the point where you are shying away from the good things. You need to be open to receive. And get to a point where you have a mindset of nothing happens to me, they happen for me. Do you get? Some people we should just close the show. Let us just end it here. Some people have that mindset of everybody this has happened to me, that has happened to me. Like, no, it happened for you to learn a lesson. It happened to prune you. It happened to weed out the unnecessary people in your life. Get to that point. So even if something does not work out, it's fine. Life goes on.
And for women that have jackpot, right, look beyond the Nigerian community as well for meaningful friendship, right? Because I think that also cages us and limits the extent to which we can nurture good friendships by thinking, if someone is not Nigerian or African, then we can't gel. No.
I did that when I got here, and the first place that I went on a day. How can we cannot end this talking without talking about how we met before we get there. I joined a group here on Facebook for expat girls in Rotterdam, right? And I remember specifically looking for Nigerians, and the first girl I went on a date with was Nigerian. I had such high expectations. I was so pumped going out. And when I went there, I was like, your body there. I'm sorry. It's not that she's a bad person, no.
Yeah, but
it just didn't happen.
That's okay.
You know, like they probably cold water. That's okay. I got home and I just told my husband, I was like, how far? Nah.
It
didn't work. You see, I say, if you know, it's just that's how it is with female friendship. The vibe, the energy was not just there. That's so. I don't think we'll be friends. Nah. And after that, I did not see any other Nigerian person to bond with. And that time I say, hello, if you continue like this, if you know it's only Nigerians you want to be friends with, why did you come here? And then I said, okay, I open myself to the possibility of meeting other people. And most of my friends are Asian. And I love it. They are amazing people. And so that's, I feel like everybody needs to know is stop looking for, it has to be someone. There's comfort in the familiar.
There's comfort in the familiar. You see how we were throwing Yoruba back and forth. It's like,
you cannot banter like this anybody outside.
But there's one of my Agbero friends. She's American and she's
there's comfort to be familiar because nobody can banter like a Nigerian. With all due respect to every other person, you cannot banter like a Nigerian.
This is why they don't like us.
We are very proud. But it's okay. I cannot banter with any other person the way I'll banter with a Nigerian. But at the same time, I won't let that limit me from,
reaching out
to other people. And so please, if you are a woman in the diaspora that has relocated, open up to yourself to meeting people outside of your race, of your country, all that.
Or religion.
Be open. Yeah, even religion should not be a barrier. It's fine. It's really not that serious. The greatest religion in this world is love. The Bible talks about it. It's love. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. So it's okay if they are Muslim. It's okay if they are Christian. As long as your values align. Please, let's not get it twisted.
Of course.
Don't get me started on another sermon. It's okay. So now, how I met Ola. Ashe, Ola was on that group that I said that I went to meet people.
My God.
But we met very randomly.
Very random.
She was looking for someone that would do her daughter's hair. I happened to be the hairdresser.
I'm not the friend. I'm the hairdresser.
And then after we had chatted on WhatsApp, she now posts an introductory picture on the group on Facebook. I've not even seen her at that point. But I'm like, wait a minute. And I go back to WhatsApp, I see the name. I say, this is the same person. And I take a screenshot. I say to her, like, is this you? And she goes, yeah. And then, to God be the glory. We met, we chatted, we vibed. And here we are now. Hallelujah.
On the couch, talking sense.
Yeah, and so my tea is already cold. But yeah, this has been great.
Yeah, it has. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. This was a wonderful way to start having guests on my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It's actually the first time I'm actually on any vlog.
Help me to beg this woman to start a YouTube channel. Are you listening to the wisdom that was coming out of her mouth?
Rema.
As is plenty. Revelation. Help me to beg her to start a YouTube channel. Maybe we convince her. Anyways, that is the end of this video. If you guys enjoyed it and you want me to put out more content like this, let me know. I did for you people.
Yeah.
If you want to see Ola here again, she's coming. We're actually shooting another video after this one. But if you want to see more of her even after the second one, let us know. We'll bring her back. Until next time, kisses. Dwee dwee.